Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today I'm coming on to also continue to encourage you and help you understand the seasons and times we're in. What can you do with the seasons and times we're in? How can you build on yourself? How can you build on your relationship? And how can you focus on the most important relationship in life? That's the relationship with God. And today I'm going to kind of talk through those relationships and help you really understand, the times and seasons we're in. We're in times and seasons when your faith needs to be much stronger, when you need to be more prayed up, when you need to focus more on what matters most to you and also who matters most to you in this time and season. It's also learning to know how to build on those relationships that you have that can help you continue to stay focused. Some of you have been burnt out and you've been praying for such a moment like this. You've been working so hard. You've been saying, oh, I need some time. If only I could have some time to sit down and relax. If only I could have some time to do this or to do that. You've asked for times where you can even have just peace with yourself and peace with your children, and you're getting such a time as this to do that. But sometimes we groan, we complain, we murmur, and we forget about those things that we've prayed for, those times that we've asked for, those times that we're now obtaining to be able to do things that we need to do to help ourselves become better. So today I'm really talking about understanding the times and seasons we're in and how you can make good use of such times and seasons where you are with yourself and really begin to build on healthy better. The most important relationship that we have is the relationship we have with God. That's the most important relationship we can begin to build on. Look at the fact that we are up this morning. We're awake. We're alive. And we're breathing. Hi, Annie. Thanks. I see you. We're breathing. We're living. We're moving. And the fact that we have that gift is enough to really help us understand that there is so much ahead of us. You may have thought, this time I'm going through a rough time. I'm focusing on the negatives, but God has actually give you something positive to really focus on, which is the life and breath that you have to continue to breathe. And this is what God kind of spoke to my mind when I was going through my quiet time with him this morning. He said, if you had to pay for the life and breath that you have in this moment, you will be bankrupt. But yet you pay for things that cannot give you life and breath, that only last for a season. And that kind of resonated with me for a bit. I'm going to repeat it again so you can kind of get it. If you had to pay for the life and breath that you have, you will be bankrupt. But yet we pay for things that cannot give us life and breath, that only last for a season. The life and breath that we have is a gift and a reminder that there is still so much life within us, that there is still so much more that we can find irrespective of what we're going through in this moment. It's a constant reminder of the greatest love. You're welcome. Kunle. It's a constant reminder of the moment that this gift is a foundation of everything else that we will do. Imagine not having life and breath today. Imagine not being able to look at yourself and say, what is it in my hands that I can utilize today? And God is saying, here I am showing you the greatest love there is, giving you life, giving you breath, giving you the opportunity to start over again. But yet we sometimes wake up in the morning and we whine about the whole thing. Think about those that have died with what's going on. They don't have the opportunity that you have in this moment to begin to see that such a time as this is when you begin to rebuild that relationship with God. The most important relationship there is. The most important relationship that gives you the life and the breath that you're living with. And if that relationship is not strong enough, your relationship with yourself will not be strong enough. Let me say that again. If your relationship with God is not strong enough, your relationship with yourself will never be strong enough to build a relationship with other people as you're going by in life. And so when you start to build on the relationship with God, and you see that that relationship is not solid yet, you look at yourself and say, you know what, with everything that's going on, he's still giving me the life and breath to still be here. And I'm holding on to that life and breath. And that's my source of faith. That's my source of strength. That's my source of hope. When you can hold on to such a relationship and begin to really build on it, you begin to emerge from wherever pit you are in, and you begin to find strength to move on, to live and breathe in your authentic self. Not what everybody else wants you to become, but what he who has created you is leading you to become. When I was going through my seasons of not knowing who I was, this was one of the greatest relationships I focused on building on. And even in this season that we're going through, it's taking me to that point where I've always said, I don't have enough time to pray in the morning. And I'm rushing to work. I'm rushing to do this and I'm rushing to do that. But in this moment that he's giving us rest, the rest that you may have prayed for so long, Lord, I don't have enough time to sit down and pray. I just have to get to work. I can't even pray well when I'm in the public transportation or even driving to work. I'm rushing everything. And in this moment, he's saying, rest in me. All that stressful moments that you've had, this is a time for you to rest in me and build that relationship up. And when you're building that relationship up, what you see that your perspective about life begins to change. And you begin to see yourself in another light. You begin to see yourself in the true essence of who you are. You begin to see things that you may not have seen or recognized before. You connect even with nature and you hear from nature. And that's why with me, nature is what really bursts me into writing. I can stand outside and look at the skies and God will speak life to me. In my darkest moment, I can stand outside and look at the grass and I will get a message. I stood outside and looked at the trees and God said, even in this moment, the trees are shedding their leaves, and you can see that anything dead in your life cannot breathe as the trees are shedding the leaf. Yet sometimes we hold on to those dead leaves like we can't let go of them. Whatever is dead in your life in this moment, just let it go. And build that relationship with God so that you can hear more from him about your next moment and your next step. The second relationship is a relationship with yourself. You may have been overwhelmed and serving and getting burnt out. And you haven't had time to examine yourself to see why things are happening. You haven't had time to examine yourself to see where you need to reevaluate your goals. You haven't had time to sit with yourself to see where you need to reevaluate your relationships. You haven't had time to sit with yourself to see where you need to reevaluate the core values that you're also teaching your children. You haven't had time to sit with yourself to focus on your health. You haven't had time to sit with yourself to focus on your spirituality. You haven't had time to sit with yourself to focus on your finances. You've been on the run. But in this moment where we're all locked down and, homebound, how are you rebuilding that relationship with yourself? How are you rebuilding that relationship with yourself? How are you looking at your core values and say, I fell away from my core values here and I compromised my core values over here, and I'm seeing why things are happening to me in the negative manner, and how can I regroup and reorganize and re-energize myself to get back on track? You're homebound now. You have all the time to do that. Don't spend the time on Netflix that cannot bring you what you need in your life. Spend the time with yourself to reevaluate your goals, reevaluate your values, reevaluate where you need to be with yourself. Set goals that can help you move forward. Reevaluate your relationship with other people and see who you need that can help you begin to become stronger while you're doing the same for them. Relationships should never be transactional and only when you need them. If you're building healthy relationships, they should be for a lifetime. The third relationship is that with your children if you're married, or with your spouse. How are you rebuilding those relationships in these times and season? This is a time when also, like I said yesterday or day before, when abusive relationships are going to escalate because everybody is tensed up. Each individual is not reevaluating the relationship with themselves yet. So every pain they're carrying, it's either the spouse or the children that would absorb it. And if you're not reevaluating the relationship with your children or your spouse in this moment to see how you can build health here while you're home together, then you're not going to have time to do it when you get back to normal business. This is a time when you can sit with your spouse and say, you know what? Where are we falling short in our relationship? How can we begin to rebuild our relationship? How can we begin to reevaluate our finances with such a situation as the time we're in so that we can build better together? How can we begin to instill in our children the core values that we've never had time to do? I heard somebody yesterday say to me, oh my goodness, I wish the children were back in school with the teachers. No, the teachers are not the ones responsible for them. God brought them into your life so that you can impact knowledge onto your children. And in such a time as this, when everybody is homebound, that's how you can rebuild the relationship and teach them the core values they may have fallen off the wagon from when they're in relationship with other children that may take them based on peer pressure of the course of their journey. This is a time when you sit with them and build. If you're married, this is a time when you look at your finances, you look at the health of one another, you look at your spiritual growth together, you look at your mental growth together, you build on your we time together and still give each other me time alone. Let me say that again. As a couple, this is a time when you look at your we time together and still give each other me time alone so that you can breathe. And so that you can reevaluate your own goals and how it is in line and in sync with your relationship goals. And then you can also look at how you can even spend more time together. When you're working, you don't have time as a couple. You come home and you're tired and you look at the children, you speak to them a little, maybe 5-10 minutes, you eat, and the next thing you want to do is just sleep and not hear anything. But you're 24/7 together in the house. How have you spent time discussing those issues you never talk about that resolve in your conflicts? Maybe you've even not had time to sit down and talk about the conflicts that you have or you've been having. This is a time to do that. There is a time and season for everything, and we sometimes look at the negatives in the times as such as this. But yet God is creating an opportunity for you in such a time as this to begin to look on the positive side of things in your relationships and say, you know what, honey, this is a time we need to work on us. We may have fallen off the track because we're pressured. We're pressured based on the daily living and the lifestyle. We have to work, we have to go get money. And sometimes you would even fight in such a moment as this about money. And this is a time when you have to also look at, hey, we're not buying gas. That money we use in buying gas and eating out, how can we put it aside for rainy days? This is not a time when you go and shop online and begin to say, you know what, I need this and I need that. Look at what you have in your house and see what you don't need, and you can begin to sell those and create wealth for your family and look at ways to create wealth for your family. When you do this in such a time as this, you're able to build for other days that will come. And you're able to get back to normal and say, you know what, we've been fighting about this when we're in a normal work-life balance. But now we've been able to evaluate this in such a time as this. We've been given that opportunity in this season to rebuild our relationship and our family. Why don't we do it now? Another relationship, the last relationship you have to evaluate in such a time as this is that of your friendships and your co-workers. Where are those that you can brainstorm with in this moment to begin to see opportunities where you can flourish and grow together? This is not a time to sit and make calls and gossip. This is a time where you look at your friends and say, hey, how has this person helped me with my growth and my life goals? And how have I helped them with theirs? And if you look at friends that are not contributing to your growth in life, then it's time to say, goodbye to this kind of friends, because they can't help you grow in life. They can only deplete you. They cannot elevate you. And you have to begin to look at your inner circle. Who can I call that can pray with me and pray for me when I am in the time of need, in such a time as this? And if you don't have those people in your circle, then your circle needs to begin to change in this moment. If you don't have people that you can turn to as a friend and say, you know what, I need someone to pray with me in this moment. Yet all they do is tell you the negative. They cannot speak life to you. Then you need to reevaluate your circle of friends and say, you know what, it's time to go. This is also a time where you need to reevaluate your family values and principles. How is the dynamic in the family? Who is positive and who is negative? Not everyone that is blood related is family. Sometimes you build family with people that are not even related to you in a better way. And that's the kind of family that God creates. He only brought you into the bloodline for a reason. It's not meant to be a lifetime, because when you get married in the bloodline, you're going to leave some people behind. And you're going to meet other people that are not bloodline that still becomes your family. And so you have to understand what family really is like in the dynamics of it. And this is such a time when you begin to build with those people that see your vision and help you run with it. This is not a time to sit with people that see your vision and want to take you down. This is a time to focus on your purpose helpers and your purpose pushers than your purpose killers and your purpose stoppers. The killers and the stoppers cannot help you become better. The killers and the stoppers cannot help you fulfill your purpose or your life goals. The killers and the stoppers will only take you off the path. They are distractions to your journey. But you have to look within and say, Lord, in this moment that I'm seeking you and I'm finding you and I'm building with you, help me connect with my purpose helpers and purpose pushers so that I can continue in the journey and in the line that you have set before me, because nobody else set that goal before you except the one who created you and is still giving you life and breath this very moment. To look at such a time and this and understand the season that you're in. This is not a time to lose focus. This is not a time to fret. This is not a time to begin to pity party. This is a time where you need to look within and say, God, what do I need to get myself back on track? What do I need to do in such a way where I begin to rebuild myself and rebuild my family and rebuild and put in my children those values that are meaningful, and put in my spouse those encouraging words that can help him or her begin to push forward, and put in my partner where they can see the goals and the line where we can build together, and begin to look within myself and reevaluate and pivot if I have to pivot. This is such a time for that. If you don't understand the season of rest that you're getting so that you can regroup, you can reevaluate, you can step into your greatness, you will miss it. If you've asked God for rest and He's giving you rest, enjoy the rest. If you've asked God for clarity and He's giving you clarity while you're resting, grab it and hold on to it. This is a time when you look at your children and say, let me begin to speak life to them. They've been overwhelmed with schoolwork. We're home, let me begin to sow seeds of faith within them so that they can grow. But if you're home with them and you're panicking, guess what? Your children will begin to have fear and build on fear than build on faith. If you and your spouse are also panicking, everything that you do will be on the chaotic side, not the peaceful side. Sit within yourself in this moment and think about what I said, what He spoke to me this morning. We pay so much for things that cannot give us life or breath. And then we lose those things. Yet, if we were to pay for the life and breath that God gives us every single day to reevaluate our lives and to get back on track, we will all be bankrupt by now. Let me say that again. We put our money and pay for things that cannot give us life and speak life to us. And those things will, pass away. Some of them we can't even use anymore. Some of them we're looking at and saying, my house is too cluttered up, I have to declutter. But yet every day we're granted the gift of life and breath by the one who created us that we're not even paying for. And we're not taking advantage of the life and the breath and that gift to evaluate our lives and look at the opportunities he's giving us every day to stand brand new. Yet we complain. Have you shown gratitude for that life and breath this morning? Have you shown gratitude for the opportunities that he's created for you today? Have you even looked within to see those opportunities as stepping stones to moving forward in your life? Or are you just sitting on them and letting another day of blessing, of new beginnings pass you by without seeing it? And you're missing out on what you need to connect to. Take a look within and begin to see that in this time and season, there is so much to learn. There is so much to grab. There is so much to breathe from. There is so much to take advantage of. There is so much to be grateful for. And there is so much to connect to. The greatness within. The greatness within. The blessings of today that may not be there tomorrow. The opportunities for you to grab hold of today. Think about everything that I've said. Take time to reevaluate your relationship with God. Take time to reevaluate your relationship with yourself. Take time to reevaluate your relationship with your spouse and your children. Take time to reevaluate your relationship with your friends and your family members. Take time to reevaluate and begin to rebuild. And take time, most importantly, to pray and seek the face of the one who gives you life and breath every day. It's a privilege not granted to everyone. Not everyone woke up today, but you did. Be grateful for that gift and ask for strength, for grace to begin to move in faith than to move in fear. To begin to walk the journey before you by looking at everything that you have in your hands that can lead you on in this journey and help you begin to rebuild if you have to. In such a time as this, there is so much more to learn, so much more to connect to, so much opportunities to take advantage of. Don't let them pass you by. So much core values to reevaluate and see how you've compromised and how you can begin to step back into the grace and the glory that has been granted to you. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to evaluate it. I'm going to take advantage of it every single moment to be grateful for promises, for life, for breath, for opportunity to begin again, and to reevaluate my life and declutter wherever necessary. Don't sit and whine about anything. Think about those people who don't even have the opportunity to breathe in this moment or are even in the hospital and can't take advantage of where you are in the moment. What are you doing with your time? Time is life. And life is time. You can never take it back once it's gone. And you don't even know if you would have the next nanosecond. This moment is all you have. And this moment is all you can make use of. Do it gracefully and enjoy the moment. If you're home with your children, build memories, teach them your core values, your core family values that they can hold on to. Let them understand the times and seasons we're in as well, without allowing them to connect with fear of what's going on. But teach them what faith is about. And let you and your partner come together and pray and ask for grace to strengthen your relationship. Create that we time where you can sit in your yard or even in your bedroom and have those conversations. Not fight about anything, but just have those meaningful conversations that can change the dynamics of your relationship and help you both move forward. And if you need support, like I've always shared with you, I'm always here to support. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm going to give it to you as it is, because when you face reality, I'm telling you, your life will change, because you're no longer interested in packaging. You're interested in commitment to yourself. You're interested in commitment to your relationships. You're interested in becoming better and moving forward into a healthier space. You're discarding what is toxic and you're connecting with what is healthy to make you become better, stronger, and wiser, and to gain the wisdom that nobody can take away from you. I just wanted to share that this morning. If you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer questions. If there are no questions, I will be signing off. Again, every time I have the opportunity to do this, I will come online to do this, to encourage you, to challenge you to begin to look at life from a different perspectives. There are 10 ways to skin a cat, but if we focus on one, we will miss out on the remaining 9. And life is such a gift where you can't afford to miss the 9 out. It's an opportunity to connect with all the 10 and see the beautiful moments that you can create and the blessings and the opportunities that you can run with, while you turn every obstacle into stepping stone towards your greatness. To live the best life that God deemed when he signed, sealed, and delivered you as good enough. Since there are no questions, I'll be signing off. I have to jump on a call. And I pray that, God will continue to give us the grace and the strength to support one another and to help each other become better. You'll have an amazing day. And remember to never stop loving while living. When you stop loving, you stop living. When you stop living, it means it's time to go back to the maker. But as long as God is still giving you life and breath, take a hold of it. Create opportunities. Look at the blessings. Resolve conflicts and move forward with healing, forgiveness, and newness. You'll have a blessed day. Talk to you soon. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.